we miss sometimes. We feel friction and we assume failure. Neuroscience calls it the generation effect. The harder you work to generate the answer, the deeper it's wired in your brain. 99% of us use AI as a crutch, not as a coach. Your brain doesn't hate struggle, it hungers for it. The real question is, how do you feed it? Well, for that, we have to build a better learning system. And I call it the 3C protocol: compress, compile, and consolidate. Each step accelerates your learning machine. And when you fire all three of them, you will break out of the orbit of the ordinary. So let's dive into the first C, compress. The best way to learn that is from one of the best chess players. If you watch Magnus Carlsen sitting down at the chessboard, he's not thinking about any specific move. What's happening in his brain is really fascinating. Cognitive studies on chess grandmasters estimate that they can internalize 50,000 or even 100,000 patterns on the chessboard. But they're not memorizing. They compress what they have learned into patterns that their brain can actually handle. Now, why do they have to do that? Because recent research shows that our brain can only juggle about 4 independent ideas at a time. Any more than that, and it drops the ball. So the first C is compress, and it's not about memorizing more. It is about reducing many ideas into fewer, stronger chunks and patterns that your brain can carry. So how do you actually compress? The first step is selection. Here's an example. When I want to learn from a book, I first compress. I ask, what's the 20% of the book that I must read that will give me 80% of the benefit? Most books are just about one single idea. So I read only selective chapters. Sometimes I would read them more than once until it sinks in. That is selection. Always pick the 20% that matters. Then comes association. A paper in Science magazine showed that you can't learn something new until you connect it to something you already know. That's the secret behind mastering how you learn. You have to ask, where have I seen this idea before? How does it connect to something I already know? This is why Magnus Carlsen wins, right? Because he connects a new move to an old pattern. He sees the harmony. Then comes chunking. This is the third step. You take these ideas and compress them into a simple model. It could be anything: a drawing, a short summary, a metaphor you can remember, a song in your head. 99% of us get overloaded, but the top 1% compress before they consume. But the next C is about how you cut down the tree: compile.